we float a little. So that's where some of this impetus is coming from. Spectacular 700 on SPX. Great morning, Michael. Yeah, if you were able to catch a little bit of this trend, market has been trending pretty well. Yeah, it started with the beginning of RB3 and kind of cracking the overnight range. And the market then kept going. And then we break the low of RB3. And now we've got a low in the S&P futures down at 64.5550. That puts the week in a precarious place where it's looking like it may be negative. The day, of course, is negative. The month is still positive. Uh, but the NASDAQ is not that far away from the open of the month. And NASDAQ's having a rough time of it. Nvidia down to 173.37. They're still above that low that they set on the actual earnings announcement, but there is a lot of red up on the board. So, a couple things to think about here. Because it is the end of the month, a month that has been positive, especially for the S&P and the Dow, we could be looking at just a little risk off situation going into the long weekend. Got to remember it is a long weekend coming up. But there's also a little bit of how the European markets react here. So I think that if you're looking for some sort of a change in the market or some sort of a relief, you want to see that coming within the next half hour or so, or the next hour. So the Genesis bar, which starts at the European cash close, coming up in about 33 and a half minutes, is going to be very important. We'll have to see how that plays out. So this is the time where we typically go around the room, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys, let let us know where you're logging in from. We got a couple temperatures around the globe. Gold trade made a profit of 11.26. That's always great, Frank. But the trades are working out, and it's a big thing. For those of you who don't know, you want to follow us on Telegram, get some insights into what's happening with the markets. Support at 64.47, then Genesis bar. Yeah, it might go down to 64.47. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'm looking back at some of the big numbers that we had yesterday, and we're below most of them. So, bit of a change up in the market. Certainly makes things interesting when the market is able to move a little. But yeah, 64.48, that was our downside target on the S&P futures on the pre-market planner that went out last night. And so if you're looking for 47, that's right around the same area. Yeah, I got as far as weather is concerned, it's a rainy day here in Mobile, so we're keeping the temperatures down a little bit. S&P futures 64, 60, 75, and they're going to be down about 1% pretty soon. Now, it's important to note that 1% is not, 5% or anything remotely like that. So this is really more, in my mind, it's a retracement in the market. It is a market that is heading into the 3-day weekend. Yeah, so retracement. That's that's exactly what we're looking at here. Now, the question I've got, and I'm going to pose this to Tom when he comes in. Is this a market that's capable of giving us a recovery after the European cash close? And I can anticipate Tom's answer. We'll have to see in the Genesis bar. And I think that this Genesis bar that's coming up is going to be very important to our understanding of where the market goes next. So we always want to, stay on top of it. Markets develop over time and they change as time moves on. So we're going to have to watch for that development, watch for that change, and see what these markets want to give us. So just looking around at a few things real quick. And it is time to get the Train and Trade program going. So welcome to Train and Trade. Happy to see you guys here. We got a nice crowd forming up, and we're going to be looking at a few things going on. Wrapping up the month of August. That's kind of the theme today, and we're going to look back at a couple of the previous months to see how the market's performed. We're having a market today where it comes down a little bit, but we need to keep perspective here because we started out April not so great for the markets. Trading was wonderful, but the month was a little bit off. Then you get into May and we get a market climbing. June, market's doing well. July, we get a nice market. August, despite what you're seeing right now, August is a good return. So now we want to see what does this project out for September. So we've got a couple different views to look at today. We're going to look at basically how this market's performing. We're going to look at how we're performing in it. And we're going to look at some of the hot stocks to pay attention to, some of the great positions to watch. Tom's been making some great calls over there in T-Buzz Talk and Trade. And Tom, it's kind of an anticlimactic move in the market because we've had this incredible month of August and we've got the market kind of coming down a little bit. I know you're taking advantage of it from the trading standpoint, but it's sort of brushing off some of that luster after making a new all-time high yesterday.
Yeah, how many times does that happen where it makes an all or a new high? 20 times this year you've seen this play out. It's usually the same scenario. Uh, they pick holiday periods, they pick times that they can, frame the news like the PCE and the consumer sentiment. Right now, the consumer sentiment, they're making a big deal about how it was at a 3 month low. Well, that'd make a lot of sense, except you got to look at where we were in December. so,
Yeah.
so you got to put things in perspective. Anytime you see that, and the market doesn't go straight up either. The hard part is it's sort of like y'all remember when you were a kid, you used to play ring around what's a game where they play the music stops.
Oh, your musical chairs.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
looking
it's
for
sort of
that
like
chair.
musical chairs. If you bought yesterday, then the music stopped on you this morning, especially with leverage instruments, because you've got an S&P that's dropped, like you said, about 1%.
Mhm.
And I look at this as an opportunity, and I'd like to show before we get into the slides today. Let's do a little different. Let's go to a live roadmap. I will show you what I look for when you see something like this. By the way, the low in the 5 days is 64.30, 5 day low, and the low today coming into this session is 64.55. That's always a good number, 55. But
So,
let's bring up the roadmap, and here's the problem that traders have. You're looking at a 30-minute E-mini, and everybody says, "Man, I can buy this stock. It's cheap." I know that thought crosses my mind. I'm sure it crosses your mind. But let me tell you how you should do it. Okay, looking at the roadmap. If you look at the roadmap, does everybody see the low bar right there, which was 64.55? Everybody see that? Okay. And there's a couple rules. Anytime you're more than a 0.5% down, which we are, you want to see it climb back above 2 bars. Okay. So the high number that would tell you it's safe to enter the water is that high of that bar that broke the reference bar. And I can't see the high. What is it? Can somebody tell me what that high is? The high of that red bar
uh,
there.
Tom, that high would be 64.85. So it's right
Yeah.
above a big key number we know at 84.
You're right. So 85, write that number down. If you got above 64.85, you probably got a turnaround. Okay. Now, Chuck mentioned something very important. We got Genesis, and Genesis comes about between 11:30 and 12. Typically, Genesis will either be a low or high. Today, it's setting up to mark a low. Well, if Genesis is the low, then it will probably range trade from Genesis to that 64.85. If you get above 64.85, then you probably got a reversal here this afternoon. And that's
Yeah,
how you can look at that chart, just what I showed you. Keep your hand, this one here, if you're right-handed, off that mouse, because you got to give the market time to breathe. Does everybody get the point? You wait till you get a 2-bar setup that tells you, hey, maybe we're getting a little reversal. Everybody see that?
yeah, and
Now,
Tom, of
if you go,
course,
I want to say another thing. If you break the 55, you got the possibility to get down to 64.35. That's the first thing I wanted to show you. Okay. So everybody get that point. This is a very important day to see this. You don't get to see it most days, but today you can make an example of that low and percentages that comes into play at 0.5% or more. Write that down. That's an insight. Took me years to figure that out, and it'll really help you in your trading as we go further. Okay? Everybody got it?
and of course, Tom, you talk about the market's potential to change. A lot of that has to do with the time frames, right? So we start the Genesis bar at the European cash close, and we have a different emphasis coming out of that. So why does it have the potential to change? Listen, DTI focuses on time of day, where the influence is coming from. That's why the potential is there.
Yeah. And so I want to go to one other market here, two other markets. I want to go to gold, put gold futures in there. Look at gold futures. Gold futures are, what is that, 35.05? Okay. Gold futures is at all time highs today. And either it's going to roll over or break all time highs and go to 35.45. And I'd watch gold futures for that today. But let me tell you the easy trade. Put silver in there. Silver, December silver. Silver has got a catch up move going. Here's the way silver will work. If gold goes higher, then silver is going to gain relative to gold, and it's going to be a big bang. And so if you're in my futures first program, I would go review the silver option play, because if it takes out that 35.10 area on gold, then you can do the silver play according to that lesson I taught. So go to your video and watch it. It's worth your money to do that. Okay, that's a silver play. Rob says, Rob, you got into puts this morning? You take profit, they went down or went up. Took profit. Training pays. Training pays.
Yeah, you got to love that. The ability to see the
Well, see,
market
that's what
based
I'm
on the
teaching people
teachings.
in SPX, and I think Rob just illustrates what I want people to be able to do. Clearly, this morning he wasn't buying the market; he was looking at the criteria I set up to play the SPX short, and he's already look at that. All the people are coming in with SPX profits. I didn't tell him to do this. I trained him to do it. They made $450 there for Neil. Man, that makes me, y'all just made my day, folks. Made my day. 700 for Michael. Look at this. You think education pays? Rob made 1,500. Rob J made 1,500. Junior, my guy from Georgia, made 620. Goodness gracious. Do you think my teaching and doing this beta phase is paying off? I asked that question. Don't you have a lot more comfort in the trend now? Told you I'd get everybody to 70%. Man, that's good. I love to see you making money the way you were taught to make money. $2,500. Way to go, Michael. Anyway, now you know at a 0.5% lower, you got to have 2 bars. Less than a half, you can do it at 1 bar. Okay. David, what do you think? That education is worth a fortune, isn't it? It really is. It really is worth a fortune. Anyway, let's go back to our slide presentation. And I wanted to, you just made my day. You made my weekend. I get more thrilled out of when I hear that kind of feedback from students. If you didn't take a trade, you ought to go review what I told you, okay? Jim made money wow, high $7. That's 500 per contract. Way to go, Jim. Now, there's risk involved in trading. Every trade's not going to work out. You know that, correct? Okay, so past performance is not indicative of future results. I want to remind people the weekly newsletter just got what I call an extra feature on Wednesday. You're going to be able to tune in and have a guy that's been with me ever since he was well, Chuck, I guess you were in your 20s. Were you 19 or were you a teenager? Can I say that? How old were you when you started with me?
Well, as my memory serves me, when I first started working for you, having the option to grab a drink was important. So I believe I was already early 20s, 21. So yeah, listen, learning this stuff is tough at times. Tom is a hard-nosed teacher, but there is no one who does it better.
Thank you, Chuck. I appreciate that. Jennifer, Jonathan will post that in there for you. Or you can go, I think you go to SPX room. It should be in there. Pretty good stuff, huh? $9.99 for a year. Now, the retirement center. You don't believe this, but you're costing yourself money. Let me explain. If I'm going to take my time and give it to you for free, you ought to take your time and join the retirement center. We have a meeting next Friday at 2 o'clock for the retirement center. That's to look at the portfolio and make decisions for the month of September. If you're not part of it, get in that Telegram channel. That's the place where we communicate with you. And I wanted to put that out there. Any questions about somebody doing what I'm doing here? You don't have to pay a service fee. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is join. How easy is that? You can ask my people in Zebra and every program that's been with me long enough to shake a tail feather. You're going to make some money, I believe, in the retirement account in there and get so much education that I'll do over that time period. So anyway, I wanted to plug it today, make sure people that are new can join. Any questions about my retirement center? Bob, re-sign up if they kick you out of it. Okay, re-sign up. I've heard that. I think they're trying to cut down on people just signed up, not being members. So do it again. If you need the referral link, Jonathan's got it. Row at DTI Trader. Okay. Perfect. All right, Monday. Oh, I forget how many years. I know it's over 20 years. Every Labor Day since I can remember, I've always worked on Labor Day morning at 10 o'clock. We'll review the 3-day algos to tell people where it's set up going into the month. That's an early look at it. It starts that night at 8 o'clock. And how these holidays will lead to a real strong reversal or more buying stepping in. I'll be talking about that Monday at 10. You have to sign up to get an invitation. Take your time and sign up. Who's going to be there Monday? Tell me if you're here today and you're going to be there Monday. Perfect. Yasmin doubts my ability to predict fuel, or excuse me, crude oil. You know, I told people it's going to go to 45 over the next year, and it's doing nothing but go down, Yasmin. I don't think I would challenge it just yet. Okay. The classes and focuses are September 22nd, 23rd. I think that is valuable if you can make it. Now, if you attend that class, I'll give you a few years of futures first. Ask those people this morning that made all that money in futures how valuable that is. You get a year to learn, and then you can come, down here, and I'll teach you face to face. I think I can teach you more in 2 days in a small class you can learn in a year online personally. That's my opinion. Most people tell me I'm right with that. I don't think I've ever had anybody that came didn't want to sign up for another one. Now, who would like to learn more about the small classes? Okay, listen up. This is something I've never done, but I'm going to do it. Okay. Next week, I'm holding a 2-hour private overview session. If you have any interest in attending the small classes, you need to send an email to row@DTI Trader. I'll be doing it Tuesday at 2 o'clock to the close. Yeah, we'll trade also, but I don't want to encourage you to come just for that. I want you to come if you're serious about coming to Ponte Vedra Beach. So be sure to send an email to row@DTI Trader. Who's interested in learning more about the 2-day face-to-face class? I just thought I would do this because I think that you just don't know how valuable it is. And I want to show you what we cover and everything just to give you an idea of what you can learn in that 2 days and trade. Who's going to sign up for this to be there Tuesday at 2 o'clock? That's Tuesday at 2. William said, don't forget how good the food is, right? Okay, anybody, let me know. I don't need likelies. I need people to commit because I'm taking time to be there. And I want to do this 2 hours. I'm going to devote on Tuesday afternoon to show you how valuable it is to be here face to face. If you leave there and think you can miss that, then the class will be online, Bruce, Tuesday. This is an online version of what I'm going to do Tuesday afternoon. I thought I would devote those 2 hours to show people how valuable it is. Anyone interested in attending a small class in Florida is invited to attend the Tuesday session, but you must email row@dtitrader.com for an invite. Kevin says, I'm going to be there. Okay, good. Yeah, because I'll spend this weekend preparing things that I believe that can be taught face to face and that kind of stuff that sometimes online doesn't lend it. Okay.
Tom, do you want to take, maybe a minute or two, 3 minutes to let people email in now?
Yeah, yeah. Jonathan says he's getting so many emails. Let's take 2 or 3 minutes and email him right now that want to attend that on Tuesday at 2. Great, Stacy. We'll attend Tuesday and find out if it's something for you. Tuesday, Dex, you shouldn't be asked. That's the wrong question. He asked, is there a charge for me doing this Tuesday? That's the wrong question. The question you ought to ask, is there value that you could get by coming down here for 2 days? But in answer to your question, Dex, I'm not charging for Tuesday. Tuesday force on the house. Okay? You see how people think? You shouldn't think that way. Let me just tell you something. You have to have the right tools. You have to have the value, or it's not worth your time. Your time is worth more than anything I can charge. I promise you that. If I can take your time in 2 days and improve your results by 20, 30% over the next year, you think that'd be worth traveling? I'm just asking. If I could show you how to improve your results from this year to next year by 20%, does anybody see how I rate the value of coming down here? I'm just asking. That's a question I'm asking while we're waiting for everybody to send an email to row@DTI Coming to train and trade, you're getting paid. I'm paying you. I've done the math on it. Just to be at train and trade every day that's free, I'm paying you at minimum $500 a week to do it with the trades I give you. Does everybody understand that? Look at what I've done in here in the short period of August. $500. Not charging a thing to be here. But you're getting $500 a week if you take the trades. Don't take the trades, or you might learn something that helps you. But the point is, I can't stay here for an hour without finding something to trade. I'm just a trader. And that's the point of the exercise, right? All right, the clock's up. Anybody, if your email's there, you'll get an invite for Tuesday afternoon. Okay? Thanks, Jonathan. That's a good idea you had. All right, Jonathan, this is the stuff. Tell me how we look at the end of August. What's going out of the month in an uptrend and what's going out of the month in a downtrend?
Yep, this was updated 6 minutes ago, and I will update it at today's close as well for those that are interested. The S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow are all and a long signal as we finish up the month. And if you look at kind of the space between the current price and the 3-day high, S&P's got a little room. Same for the Nasdaq, not quite as much room on the Nasdaq, still above it. And the Dow's got about 100 points. No, excuse me, 1,100 points. Dow's got a good bit of room. Crude oil still short, below 65.
There you go, Yasmin.
Gold and silver both long. Silver has been long for the majority of the month, if my memory serves me right. Gold's recently joined in on the fun there to the long side.
And didn't I put silver as a special opportunity this month about 2 weeks ago?
For the weekly trade letter, yes. Both
$9.99 for a year. I said it's time to get into silver. Look at it now.
Yep. And we showcased your gold highlight of the week this week, yesterday, and all the channels. Everybody probably saw that. A month of
Michael
metal.
said he bought physical silver. Way to go, Michael.
Bonds will be interesting to watch next month. See if they can get above that 115 level.
Well, that really defines bonds, doesn't it? That 115.
Yeah, you've said that. I don't know if it's been all year, Tom, but for as long as I can remember, my memory can serve me.
Yep.
Bitcoin's had a little rough month, down to 108. They're short. We'll see how.
Yeah, and I heard something on Bitcoin. They said that you'll see buyers step in above 105. I think I agree with that.
105 support.
Yep. That's what everybody's telling me. People I listen to, at least.
All right, couple stocks here. NVIDIA got started real good at the start of the month, but about 10, 15 days into the month, it started to stall, and it's actually going to finish right around the month open, it looks like, for August.
About 175 area.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to go higher over the next quarter. So I'm got a strategy on where I sold the 175, 72 and a half. It ends, I think it expires third Friday of September, right?
I believe so, yep. And your opinion of it is noted. NVIDIA. Okay, Apple or Oracle's had a rough month, all the way down to 224.
That is coming down.
That's probably, what is that, 10% below its month open?
Yep.
Apple, Amazon look good. Finished up the month wrong, but Microsoft's the flip side of that story. We've been saying, every day in the training trade that we had a little mixed month in tech. Some are up, some are down. Micron looks good. Meta has turned lower. Tesla firmed up nicely this month. I think it was up to 350 or so at one point. What did it, Tom? So it's pulled back
352, 55 area.
Yeah, so it's pulled back a little bit coming into the end of the month, but we're still well above the 3-day high and of course well above the month open. Berkshire, some buying stepped into Berkshire again after several month hiatus.
Hey, did you see it in TNT? I put Berkshire, buy it, 502 and a half. And I looked this morning, even in this down market, it hit 505. That's $2.50. And TNT just keeps on paying.
Yep. Let's see what else we have here. We have some nuclear related stocks. There's Palantir, an off month on Palantir.
Yep.
Raytheon, Lockheed are ending up the month strong. You mentioned those early month.
Yeah, early on, I said these are a place I'd put some money. Okay.
There's your Elon.
Elon's hanging.
I want to say American Eagle do they have earnings next week? Anyway, they might. I'm not
sure.
certain. Let's see. Bitcoin related stocks, of course, are going to be down. Except ETH, Ethereum, still rocking on Ethereum.
Yeah, I own that stock. It got above 40. It went up to about 46. It's backed up a little bit, but I've got a position in it. I like it. Actually, I like it more than Bitcoin.
What else we have here?
Reddit showed some life. Where's Reddit today? Let me check it.
222 is what it
Yes,
was.
it come back a little bit.
Okay. That stock moves, that's for sure. And then we got the indexes, of course, long, GLD long. This has kind of been perplexing. The energy ETF has been long for most of the month,
Yeah,
but
but see, the oil market's divided in a couple areas. The integrated
right,
oils are doing pretty good, like CVX, those kind of companies.
right.
And then you got the ones. It's where the big take over the small. We're in that phase of the oil business.
Okay. And then we have,
I know. I've seen it over my career.
that's right. Yeah. And we got the dividend payers down at the
Yep,
bottom.
there's the dividend payers.
So this is the last, again, this last trade day of August. I'll update
Yep.
at the close. The slide here is slide
Hey,
number.
Jonathan, do you have the diamond on there
I'll be
on your
sure to have
sheet?
diamond for next month.
Yeah, put the diamond because I've been trading the diamond this week and I haven't traded in a long time. And I just checked my results. I'm up about, let's just say I'm about 10 for 10 this week, personally trading it. And I'm thinking maybe it's time to, I cleared off the spider webs and said, let's trade it. But the diamond to me, I've got a trade there I'm using pretty successfully. And we'll talk about that next week, maybe. Okay. On the diamond.
I like that. Knock the dust off. Back to the diamond.
Yep. Back in play. I used to have a membership to the Dow Futures Exchange, still do, but a lot of people don't trade it anymore. I really don't trade the futures anymore on Dow like I used to. That's my opinion. Train and trade. Last couple days, we haven't grown like we were growing. We're sort of topped out about, I'd say, 190 to 230. Y'all do know this is free, right? I'm just, throwing that out there. I'd like to get, I'm happy with the 200 for August, the first month. That's why I decided to do it in September, but I'd like to get to 300. Anybody got any ideas how I can expand my people to come here? Because I would think once they see what we do, they don't go to anybody else. I've had people tell me that I'm glad I found you. That's the favorite words I love hearing people. I'm glad I found you. Okay. Yeah, we made a little trade on the diamond this week. Yeah, possible. Yeah. But if you got any ideas, I'm open ears. We're trying to elicit the people that come to give us ideas. I think it's a pretty valuable hour. Things you learn and things you see. I know we got a lot of positive feedback about the predictor on the roadmap yesterday. And today we're going to introduce another feature called the Money Maker. I think you're going to like it too. So I'm going to be quiet for a second, Jonathan, and give everybody a chance to type in a suggestion or two. We're open, all ears as we go into September. How do we spread the word about DTI and T-Buzz to get other people in here? It's based on numbers. Y'all realize that, right? So I'm looking for help here. Referral rebates, okay? Explain, Michael. What are you talking about? Like if you refer somebody, we give you something. Yeah, Jen, I might go back on the road and I might go back on the road. I'm going down in October to the Money Show. I'm going down there. Next month. I got a friend that's presenting down there. You invited me down to have dinner with. I'm gonna go down to Orlando, have dinner, and just sort of check things out. I might do that show. 5 friends. Michael, you bring 5 friends. You let me know they got involved, and I'll give you that. Do we have a link to refer people to? I think Adam's working on one. Do we have a link, Jonathan, to refer people? I guess you just use the thinker. How would they refer people?
Refer people to train and trade. We might
Yeah,
have.
how would they, like, if they had somebody they wanted to refer people to, how would they do it?
That's a great question. I'm gonna get with Adam today, and we'll think up a strategy to have
Kevin
on
says
the
a
slide.
friends and family referral link that we could share with people. That's a great idea, Kevin.
That sure is.
Yeah, these are kind of ideas that really help us. A live short course out in California. Yeah, I might do that. I haven't been on an airplane in 6 years, but I think I'd do it. Michael says, get everybody to go to YouTube and like the videos. It'll boost my score. There you go, Michael. That's a good idea. Moore's trying to get me to Wisconsin. Been trying for years. Thanks, Pete. Northern California. I might do that. I might decide to get on an airplane again. Frank, why don't you send that to Jonathan? Jonathan, help Frank do what he's saying. That'd help big time. Hold on. Let me go back. I want to read what Katie said. Anybody with a pretty name like Katie, I got to read. Yeah, Katie, that's hard to do because, we're in the business of doing that. But I think if you'll stop and think about the value proposition of me giving you a trade, it's worth your time. Not unless you make $1,000 for 2 hours. If you make $500 an hour, maybe it is costing you a little time. And you always learn something. That's the key. Learn something. And I've told people I'm putting this together over the weekend. I'm gonna go through every program I got and put the strategy it's targeting, because you'll notice this and you think, well, it's a lot, but folks, we have a gold program, right? And that's the best way to go with the gold program. But one of the things that you'll notice, I have strategies for any kind of market. I asked the people that were with me in 2022 when everybody else lost their ass what we did. Y'all remember 2022? Fifth day of the year, I got everybody short and said we're going to make our money to the downside this year. Having strategies for any kind of market. See, we don't know here's what you got to know. This is what you got to know. You got to understand. Having strategies for any day, any week, any month, any year in the market is important for longevity. I don't care what the market does. I have a strategy that I know that I can use to make money, because we're here to make money, correct? And I think part of the reason, is any year, any day, any month, any week, multiple years, I've got strategies because I've survived for 40 plus years. Okay. Yeah. I believe in education, though. You got to put up with my education because I just don't want you to drive up to the convenience store of money and check out the money. I want you to know how to do it because you'll do better. I've got proof positive that if you'll take the time and learn how this stuff works, okay? Neil, absolutely. Absolutely. That's a fair deal. I'll do that for you. Talk and trade. We track every trade I do in here through Talk and Trade, but we do other things in Talk and Trade. For example, the Berkshire trade. You don't have to have a big account to take advantage of that. I think it's very valuable for you. Okay. Today's folks is wrapping up a very successful month, and why is it important to be on board for September? Well, Frank, unfortunately, that's not the way this thing works. Okay. I wish it could be that kind of world, but that's not the way it works. I wish it could be that way. That's just it. But %93 accuracy, that's real. At 93% accurate. We got people here that can document that did, that. And, when you can do that in a month, you're at the right place. Because I don't do that every month. I'll tell you that up front. That's just a great month. May's a great month. But that's the real stuff. It wasn't made up. It was actually there. Mike said, I'm a witness to it. Well, what do we do in June? Well, I don't know what happened in June. I'd like to drink some more of that water. That's never happened before. I had 27 out of 27 winners in June. That's pretty good too. Then, not to go unchallenged, I had people that came and saw me or heard me online for Sawgrass actually saw a perfect Sawgrass where I made money on every trade that we did in Sawgrass. And I got 35 people here that were there and did good. Katie, you don't have to take a day trade. You just need training how to avoid day trades. I didn't make the rule about pattern day trades. I think it's a stupid rule. But you got to educate yourself how to avoid day trades. I teach it. Go to YouTube. I got something on YouTube that trains on that. But why should somebody be penalized if I'm up 40% because you can't do a day trade? That's not fair. So you better take it upon yourself to learn. You got a small account, you better take it upon yourself to learn exactly how to avoid it. I teach it. I hate that rule. Stupid rule. John just posted it in there. Well, we slowed down in July. We were only 86% accurate then. In July, started the second half. August, we're down to 82%. I've done less trading in August, but at the same time, I'm getting to my normal rate, which is usually about 4 out of 5. People's heard me say it. If I do 1,000 trades, I'll be right about 4 out of 5. That's the difference of me. My Biden level is going to be about that, 80%. And you'll have some months that I really knock it out of the park, usually at the end of the quarter. Notice at the end of the quarter, May and June, very strong. Now, once we get to October, November, December, okay, it ought to be good, 82%. Now, here's some September lessons from the Stock Traders Almanac. I used the Almanac. I encourage you to get you a copy when the new ones come out. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. Yeah, you got to spend a little money to get one. I don't get anything for telling you to do it, but you ought to get it. Keep it on your desk, and you will find it's very valuable when you come up on these holidays like this. The clean house approach. Let me tell you about, I've done this side of it, the portfolios. They do not want to have stocks in their portfolio that are losing money. You know what stocks are going to pitch? Go look at our tickers over there, and the ones that are down are the ones that will be pitched. And you will see that increase the closer you get to the end of the year. Did y'all know that? Let's take, Jonathan, don't bring it up, but look at a stock that's down on 25 tickers and give me the name for the month of August.
Okay.
And a number.
Let's see. AMD is that. I'm just going down the list. AMD is down for the month. Oracle's down. Microsoft's down. Meta's down.
Where did Oracle open the year? You got to have it below the year also. Where did the year open?
Oh, Tom, unfortunately, the year open's not on our sheet here.
That's what we gave you the compass to figure that one out.
Can certainly do that. Require a little bit extra time.
I just think it's important to make this point because this is going to be the difference between those that don't know about this and how to use it and those that listen.
Oracle is well above the year open.
Yeah, that's not one.
Let's see about.
Where'd USO open the year? Look at USO off the top of my head. Where did it open the year?
USO opened the year at a price of 76.84.
And where's it trading right now?
75.04.
Okay, if this is down in September, they'll start selling USO. That's an example of what I'm trying to say. There's other stocks in there. I'll do some homework and find out what they are, but they will get further and further away from the month once they go negative and when they're below the year, okay?
And crude's probably about the only thing on our ticker list because
I usually throw things off because I'm in a bull market. That makes sense. I'll throw things off that list if I don't want you to get in there, okay? Target and PFE, William says, I'll look at Target. Thank you. But, with the market up like it is, it's going to be 25% or so stocks that haven't done well this year probably get a lot worse. And some of these stocks will turn south after October, and you got to pay attention. Okay? That's the point I'm trying to make with this September Almanac. I know the verbiage, and in fact, once we get the new one out, I'll probably have a class to take you through a short course on how to read this sucker for the good stuff. That'll be in October, November. Let's keep going, Jonathan. What else you got? End of December or September is prone to weakness. Not unless what they don't tell you, it's prone to weakness. If the first half is bullish, if the first half is bearish, they get strength the second half. They don't tell you that. You got to read the fine print on that one, okay? Key dates, we got Labor Day Monday. We got unemployment next Friday. That ought to be good. PPI, CPI comes pretty fast, the 10th and 11th. Fed announcement. That's going to be a big one. The Fed announcement. Everybody's all eyes on the Fed. All eyes on the Fed. Then GDP and PCE to finish out the month. Now, futures open Sunday night, halt Monday at 1 p.m., then resume at 6 p.m. on Tuesday. So we can trade Monday. We can trade Monday. Equities are closed on Monday, but open Monday night at 8 o'clock. A lot of people won't know that little piece of advice. You ought to ask other people if you think they know their stuff and see if they got the right answer. They'll tell you. Most of them will miss it. You won't if you listen to me. Yesterday, we highlighted the predictor feature of the Roadmap software. All right, Jonathan, I'm gonna let you do the predictor part. I'm gonna do the moneymaker.
Okay. Had a question in the chat. When do the S&P and NASDAQ futures roll? Not until September 15th, Brian. Third week of next month on Monday of that week. Monday of that week, third week of September. Now, the predictor is a feature under tables inside the roadmap, and it's a great feature. It's about halfway through the tables menu. Someone type in a stock in the chat. We'll go one stock. I'll do 5 stocks, one at a time. William says XOM. That's the first one. So let's look at XOM. What the predictor does is it pulls in the option data from yesterday's close. Now, that's a key point. Yesterday's close, it pulls in the options data, and it uses a little option chain trick of finding implied support and resistance. What you can do is, and if you look up here, the strike price it gives on XOM was 113. So XOM closed yesterday around 113. What this feature does, it goes out to the option chain and the expirations shown here. All right, so the top one is this Friday, next one's next Friday, so forth and so forth. And it goes to the 113 strike, whatever strike's up here, and it adds up the call and put premiums. You'll see that as of yesterday's close, Friday's expiration on the 113 strike had a 23-cent call value and a $3.85 put value. You add those two prices up to get what looks like $4.08. $4.08. And with the two premiums added together, you take that $4.08 premium and you add it to the strike price of 113 to get an implied resistance for today on XOM up at 117. That's where the options were implying the stock could move if it had a bullish day. And then a reasonable expectation to the downside, at least based on the options, implied move, said it could move down to 108.92 today. That's what this feature is doing. If we go out to third Friday of next month, based off of the close yesterday, the options were implying a potential move up to 116.17 area or a potential move down to 109.110. That's a great little feature inside the roadmap, so you don't have to do the manual calculations. Just remember it's based on the prior day's close. All right. Meaning if you had a big day during the day, you're going to be better off doing the manual work yourself. But this is a good feature in the morning time before the market opens. If you're looking to trade something and you want to know, all right, well, reasonably, how far can it go up or down? You can plan your option trades around that. If I click over to the predictor tab itself, gives a little different graph viewpoint. This is out to September 19th. So if the stock were to, if XOM were to go up to that implied resistance area of 117-ish or so, that's about a 4% move off the current month open of 112. Or if it were to fall down to the 109, 110 area, that'd be about a 2.5% drop from the month open. So notice these percentages are not a move from the current price. They're a move off the month open. Next stock up, let's go quickly through these. Next stock that was posted into the chat is SMCI. So I'm going to go back to tables, predictor, SMCI, right click, add SMCI. And I'm going to show you what else you can do with this. If I open up a compass chart of SMCI and I throw it to a daily viewpoint, there's the stock. If I right click on the predictor table, I can start to check on the row 1 support and resistance lines. So it takes that first row, 40.74 implied support, 47.25 implied resistance, and it puts the lines on the chart for you. So you can actually add all the lines if you wanted to. And of course, as you add more time to expiration, there's going to be more value added to the options, and so your frame, if you will, is going to get wider and wider. You can see that reflected on the chart over there. So any questions on the predictor feature? Again, a great feature based on implied moves from how the options are priced, and it is based on or referred to the last trade day, the prior trade day at the close. All right, one more. I said 5. Let's do one more. Spent more time on that than figured I would, but I explained a little bit more than I thought I would too. So here's Tesla. Last one we'll do. Then we'll look at the moneymaker. Tesla, based on the 345 strike at the close yesterday, had implied support and resistance today of 317 and 372. Now, the last thing, this up top, this is the only portion of this table that is actually live. So that's a live print. Tesla's trading at 336. It opened today at 347, has made a high of 348 and a low of 334. Neil, it's under tables. It's called predictor, about halfway through the tables list. Right, David, this is a roadmap software feature. Sure is. We actually covered this in the roadmap training yesterday. So if you have the roadmap and want to learn more, go to dtitrader.com/master, dtitrader.com/master. It's kind of a master resource that we have, and you can go watch that recording if you want to learn more. On the master resources sheet, which I just posted into the chat, you're going to find a link that's labeled, I think it's called Roadmap Afternoon Education, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That silver trade, I told all my people in futures go buy, they should be up about 15 cents, Jonathan, if they followed the video. 15 cents, 750 bucks on that trade, just like that.
Yep, that's great.
Huge, I'm telling you, huge. Okay, I'm going to cover the moneymaker. Bring up the moneymaker and put the following tickers in.
I'll go to tables. I'll go to moneymaker, which is, third of the way down, not quite a third of the way down the list.
You got to be in caps, right, Jonathan?
For this particular feature, after you name the feature and it opens up, yes, you do need to be in caps. We're going to right click and hit manage symbols. I'm going to turn my all caps button on. So
okay, put the E-mini in there.
And Tom mentioned the E-mini first because the first symbol here is kind of your benchmark that you're going to compare everything to. And you'll see that.
And y'all know I always look at the E-mini to determine whether the market's going up or going down. Now put the SPY.
And the SPY is a perfect vehicle. And obviously, it's a direct one-to-one relationship to the S&P futures.
Now put the SPX.
SPX in the same way. Oops. All caps. Good about that.
Then put XSP.
Same here.
And now put the QQQ.
And the QQQ. Okay.
All right. So, and you can put stocks in here. You can put anything in here. I just used indexes because I do a lot of trading these indexes. And sometimes I need to go figure out where I think if I'm going to sell a put or sell a call, where I think based on the S&P. Now, do y'all remember me saying that the S&P had to get above 6485? Y'all remember me saying that to turn the market, the trend? Y'all remember me saying that at the very beginning? So if you put buy in at 6485, Jonathan, that's the way I do it. Other people do it differently. Put buy in at 6485.
Okay, I'm going to right click on the yellow box here on the column for the S&P futures in the top row that says buy. So right click, set buy target 6485. Before I click OK, a lot of people get confused by the fact that it says buy and sell. We really just want to get in a number in the top yellow and a number in the bottom yellow for the S&P futures, so we get the predicted values out here to the right.
And then I'll take the low of the day. What's the low of the day for the E-mini?
Well, it's 55 earlier. Is it still 55?
Let me check it real quick. The low of the day for the E-mini is 55. You have a winner.
All right, so I'll right click on this next yellow box down. Set sell target 64.55. And then I'm going to shrink this up so you don't see the other rows. We can focus in. And again, what it's doing is taking that level in the S&P futures and is predicting out where these markets should be trading relative to the S&P futures. It's based on a relative move on how they're currently trading against the S&P futures. So obviously the SPY, the SPX, and the XSP are going to be should be very good in terms of the relative move. QQQ also is going to be very good, but it's not going to be quite as heavily correlated as the SPY, of course, but it's going to be still heavily correlated to the S&P futures by the nature of how the market works.
Okay, so let me tell you how now this is, don't do this, but I want to show you how I would use it, okay? So if I think the S&P is going to have major resistance at 64.85, it's currently 64.66, then I might, in a bear market like we're having today, go sell the XSP 647 call and buy a 648 call. I might do that as a potential trade, or I might do an iron condor if I think that we've made our low of the day and have a 47.44 call and put on an iron condor. This is how I use this money maker, okay? And that's the reason it's important. And you can use it for other things too, like, you know, we could put NVIDIA in here and we could see where NVIDIA would be if he added NVIDIA, if the S&P got to 64.85. Does everybody see the value of having this? This is something I built to make sure that I had the flexibility to make money. Now, we put NVIDIA in here, okay? And we can say if the S&P gets to 64.85, NVIDIA's going to be at 175.74. Now, we can also add the TQQ in here, add the TQQ, and this is another way to make money with the TQQ. So if you were looking at the TQQ and you said, where would the TQQ go if the S&P went up to 64.85 I could buy a TQQ at a reference bar and that'd be my target. Does everybody see that? Now the moneymaker is a feature that when I brought it out, I had a lot of people using it. But my guess, Jonathan, have you talked to moneymaker in the last year to anybody?
Yeah, been a little while. Probably in the last year, yes, in the afternoon
Yeah.
training.
Okay.
Been a little while.
Yeah, there's so many features inside the roadmap software that depend on the strategy, whether it's short-term, long-term options or whatever. I got the features. I can't trade without the roadmap. You heard me say that. And but this is just an example of a feature we wanted to highlight. Does this open your eyes to people who have the roadmap, how valuable this is? Pretty valuable, isn't it? All right, let's go back to our slideshow.
Okay, I think the slides, let's see here.
By the way, SPX people, I'm gonna cover this at our next lesson, how to use this, even enhance your predictability, okay?
We covered those lives. So.
All right. What have we got? 26 wins in a row. What's this on?
That's on the one ticker payout program, Tom.
Goodness gracious. Do I have anybody here not in this program? I'm just curious. Is anybody here not in the one ticker program? We trade the QQQ, so it's okay if you're not. Because if everybody's in it, no need for me to talk about it. John's not? Okay. Cindy? Katie, you're not in this? All right, we got a bunch of people. David joined 2 days ago. Anybody know baseball? Who knows baseball? Who grew up loving baseball? Who grew up loving baseball?
I did.
You
I was
did?
Hey, a little bit more recent, but Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa days was when I was growing up as a kid. Loved that baseball era. Every Saturday.
Yeah. There's a guy that always amazed me that anybody could do what he did. His name was Joe DiMaggio. And here's a little piece of trivia for you. How many times did Joe DiMaggio in a row, here you go, in a row, how many times did Joe DiMaggio hit safely in a row? Set a record. I think it still stands. I'd have to check.
Jolton Joe, Neil says.
Jolton Joe. I traded Dow Futures one time. Said I could match Joe DiMaggio, probably the worst ego thing I ever did. And I got 62 in a row with trading the Dow Futures. And I said I'll never do that again. That was the hardest 62 trades I ever made on the Joe DiMaggio story. But anyway, anytime I see that we got 26 in a row, I'm thinking Joe DiMaggio. How many can I get? Okay. Yep. Marilyn Monroe. That's right. That's who he was married to. Anyway, each day the market's open, I monitor the QQQ. Why not monitor the QQQ? Because if I'm trying for a base hit, this is where I go with the QQQ. And this is how it works. We send out an email to you to let you know. We send out a text to you when it sets up. It doesn't set up every day, but when it does, I will take and put my 26 in a row out there. I won't stop at 26. We do it through Telegram too. We'll let you know there. Anyway, I just think that it's fun when you have a program that's so successful like this and people don't even know about it, Jonathan. They don't know about this program, you know? What do you think? That's pretty good, 26. How many can I go? I don't know. But I'm very disciplined, and we'll see. And the next trade might be a loser, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it'll be a loser, Jonathan.
When you've issued 26 in a row, I mean, what side of that bet do you want to be on?
Yeah, really. Yeah, I'd take this program just to find out what not to sell. Anyway, I just made another $800 on silver futures. I'll teach this Monday night, folks. Another avenue how to make money with futures. Now, if you can copy and paste this trade, you ought to do it, and back to whatever you're doing. You got an 81% accuracy rate. Make about 18% every time I take the play and fill. And that's in counting losers and winners. Think about what it would be if this string continues. You need less than $100 to take the average trade. We got a setup that I use. Jonathan knows what it is. I call and say, go with the one ticker. There goes the one ticker in process. We set it order. We set it and forget it. We also teach strategies inside our options for rookies. We think that's good. One year, even extra cash if you want to listen. I train. And here's a chance. For $97, you can play along with me in the month of September in the one ticker program. If I go and the record continues, you made a heck of a deal. $97. So all you people who are not members, get on board because I will do one ticker next week. I'll pick the day, the time, and the opportunity. Gives you time to review some of the past master classes and get you going. Now, Jonathan, I know some people like to hear more than what my executive summary. Katie, this executive summary is for you. You don't like long sales pitches, okay? But this is for people that just want to get to the game of making money. I can't think of any better way to do that than you joining me for one ticker right now. What do you think? Any questions? Monday's a holiday. Yeah, we will have Futures First Monday night. Absolutely. We'll have it Monday night. Barbara, their debit spread. Sam said it was 56, and he lost Joe DiMaggio's baseball card. Tell me about it. Katie, I want you to write this down. Any trade I do does not have to be a day trade. Why don't you go to the YouTube channel, read that, the next time I'm talking, you tell me, do you understand how to do it? You don't have to be a day trade in any trade I do. Jimmy, if you have an issue like that, you go to Roe at DTI Trader and he'll handle it for you. Great question. If you have any issues with getting trades, being in a Telegram channel, go to Roe at DTI Trader. Jonathan works very hard He's very good, and he'll be available to solve that question for you. I also got a message. It's John here. I told John I'd call him back. I got busy, had an out-of-town visitor. John, I'm looking for the card with your number on it. John, are you here? We talked 2 days ago. I said I was going to come up with a plan. Here it is. Here it is. Fell on the floor. John Sproul, you here? John Sproul. I will call you in the next hour if you're here. Yes, Charlie, MTI is great for that. He asked me, was it good for both short-term and long-term? Absolutely. Well, you learned something today. Let me summarize. You learned about what to do on down days like this, when to consider the direction is going to change. I showed you how to tell. I told you about the 0.5% rule. I told you that you got to watch Genesis. We showed you a review of the predictor on the roadmap and the moneymaker. And we told you where resistance in the market was, 64.85. Folks, I think this has been an excellent session to cover some of these key points. I think that you ought to think about everything I said, and I'll see everybody at 3 o'clock this afternoon. Thank you so much for showing me, and I'm going to take some of your ideas into play. David F., I will have Jonathan send you the link you're asking for, okay? I'll get off the phone and call him. I got one coming to you. Check your email. It'll be coming to you, okay? It's going to be a great weekend and exciting. And thanks for doing that. I appreciate it, David. Thank you. All right. Let's go see what the day unfolds. Stay cool. And as I always say, I'll see you on the flip side.
All right, folks, we're about to play a replay of a much more detailed presentation Tom recently did on the one ticker payouts. So stick around to listen through that. We'll leave the room open until this recording is done. And we'll be back at 3 p.m. this afternoon.
But everybody always talks about the winners. But what happens when it doesn't go right? I'm going to tell you